Who's excited for today? We're going to learn some mindset magic, how to manufacture some gigantic breakthroughs in our life. My name is Craig Siegel. I'm going to dive in a little bit. We're going to give another minute for some more participants to arrive. Just another minute, guys. Let me know where you're from today in the chats. I'm over here in the Big Apple, Manhattan, New York City. There's a vibe again, there's a pulse, it's very nice. Let us know where you're at in the chats, guys and gals. LA, yeah. LAX. More New York, okay. Los Angeles. I imagine most of you are from Los Angeles area. I'm gonna be out there next month. I'm super excited. All right, we're gonna learn all things how to dictate your inner experience today. Okay, guys? My name is Craig Siegel. I am a mindset coach, entrepreneur, keynote speaker, breakthrough manufacturer, performance enhancer, and host of the record-setting podcast, The CLS Experience. Simply put, I help people dictate their inner experience. In other words, reframe their mindset so that they can accomplish anything that they desire. I believe that although a lot of people are feeling stuck and uninspired, especially coming after 2020, which is a challenging year for everybody, none of you are broken. None of you need to be fixed. It's your frame that's a little bit corrupted. That has to be rewired. And when you start to begin to look at things from a different perspective, everything that you look at then changes and the seas begin to part. All right. If you're ready to go on a ride right now for the next 45 minutes, all things mindset, how to revamp, elevate your state, cultivate confidence on command, drop a yes in the chats. Let's do this. Yes. This is going to be fun. I see you, Andrea. Yes. Okay. All right, good. All right. So in order for us to get to where we want to go, there's certain things that have to be ironed out from the very beginning. Okay. Number one, and most importantly, we have to have confidence. We have to have a self-belief in ourselves, in our own abilities, that there's nothing that can stop us. As you guys must imagine, and you could probably relate to from some time in your past, when you had unbelievable self-belief, when your confidence was through the roof, it wasn't what could you do, it was what couldn't you do, right? Because from that elevated state, you see possibilities, you see opportunities. Whereas if you're in a lowered state, you see problems and obstacles. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna go for a ride for the next 40 minutes, how to completely revamp your mindset and accomplish anything that you want. Something huge, grand, big. I like to call it a moonshot, all right? So right now what I want you to do is as follows. I want you all to think about something that you want to accomplish. Maybe it's start a passion project, start a new business, put yourself out there for a relationship, run a marathon, whatever the case may be. I want you to think about how your life might look in the next 3 months if you're able to execute and accomplish this. Take a second, actually visualize it and see it. This is very important. So we have more participants coming in. Nice to see you guys. Yes. Okay, good. Okay. Now I want you to remember that image that we just cultivated. When we wrap up the presentation here today, you're going to have the exact blueprint, the map, so to speak, on how we're going to get to where we are right now, how to get there. So you guys can immediately leave today's segment, this speaking session, with tangible tools and techniques to immediately start applying to your life in all areas. This is where the real fun begins. Okay? So just a little background about myself. A year ago, in fact, 365 days ago from today, middle of the pandemic, 2020, I made a decision. I had been a business owner for the last 10 years in Wall Street and finance, had a ton of success, from a lucrative standpoint. But the truth of the matter is I was burnt out and I was unfulfilled. Straight up, guys, because I'm gonna be very transparent with you all today, and I want you to do the same with me in the chats. I was unhappy. I was actually a bit miserable. So when the pandemic happened last March, I thought we had 2 weeks, because who knew back then? I shut down my office as a business owner downtown Manhattan, and I knew I had at least 2 weeks to kind of see what else was out there, put myself in a different frequency, tap into whatever it is that my passion is. Because even though, like I said, I was having success, I was waking up every day and I wasn't exactly making a dent in the universe. I'm just gonna be straight up with you. What I was doing did not set my soul on fire. Okay. So when the pandemic happened, I tapped into that frequency. I said, look, I do not want to wake up 6 months from now still doing that. God forbid, 6 years from now. I wasn't even really alive. I was existing. I was essentially dying a slow death. So, not to sound too spiritual, but I put myself in that frequency, and it was like, of course, I felt the top of my shoulder. I've always been obsessed with personal development. I was always fascinated with how the mindset works. I started studying neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, how to dictate your inner experience 10 years ago when I first got to Wall Street, and I was very inexperienced. I was a rookie on Wall Street with all these veterans, so forth. I was intimidated. I didn't have confidence. I didn't have charisma. It wasn't the Craig that's speaking before you here today. And so I started studying the mind, and I was absolutely blown away by how you can alter your perspective on how you see things, and everything changes. Or you can even change what you associate pain and pleasure to. So, for example, that Craig back in the day would never have the courage to be standing in front of you amazing people here today doing a presentation. But now I associate pleasure with this because I know we're going to provide a ton of value. You guys are going to have tools that you can apply immediately, and we're going to have a ton of fun. Whereas back in the day, this would intimidate me. I'd be nervous, I'd have anxiety, and so forth. And so I started studying the mind for 10 years, and I selfishly used it to have success in businesses. I built 2 businesses from the ground up with 0 experience to 8-figure juggernauts, one being the last one I was at. I used this same mindset 2 years back to go from not being able to run a mile without stopping to conquering 4 marathons the very same year. Because I believe that, God willing, as long as we're all physically able to put one foot in front of the other, we can all run. And so I realized that that was the voice in my head that I had to combat and kind of own. And so I had a ton of success with this stuff, but I never thought I would make it my life. So circling back now, at the beginning of the pandemic, when I had that first moment in 10 years to reassess, to ask myself if I'm really happy, truth of the matter was I wasn't. And so I thought about the personal development stuff and transformation that I've been obsessed with. And I said, what if it's not just my passion? What if it's actually my purpose? The very next day on a run in Central Park, I pulled over. I bought the domain for what I named Cultivate Lasting Symphony, CLS, a play on my initials. And the rest, as they say, is history. And I started this business 365 days ago today. I put out some content. I told the world that I'm going to begin teaching people how to apply the NLP, how to revamp their mindset, how to cultivate confidence. Eventually, I was creating that Hollywood hype. I was building awareness and following on social media. And just like a big movie that comes out and they release a big trailer a year in advance, I said I was going to drop my first program, take on some clients to help and so forth. And I'm very grateful and humbled to say people gravitated towards the message. We sold out back to back coaching programs, 4 masterminds, a retreat. We started a podcast, the CLS Experience. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, all the biggest celebrities on the planet are on the show, and it's tapping into their mindset as they were overcoming rock bottom. 250,000 downloads within 3 months, and obviously speaking engagements galore, and the rest is history. But the whole point of this story is, number one, to give you amazing humans a little background on myself, what I've accomplished in the last year, and also how when you become aligned, when you find your passion and your purpose and you step into that and you begin to live inside your vision, there's nothing that you can't do. And before we dive into, because I can hear the eye rolling right now, some of you are like, okay, but how, right? I want you to understand that you have to have a vision. There has to be a strategy. You have to be very clear, have clarity on what you want to do. And then we put together a strategy in combination with the revamping of the mindset, and there's nothing that we can't do. So all of you that are watching this right now, and everyone that's going to see this on the replay, I urge yourself that if you're not in front of a mirror right now, because I want you to listen to what we're about to say, I want you tonight, look yourself in the mirror and say this: why not you? Why not you? Why can't you start a business? Why can't you transform and grow a 7-figure juggernaut transformation business in 1 year? Why can't you run a marathon? Why can't you put yourself out there for a relationship, get promotion at work, whatever the case may be? The answer is the only thing that's stopping us is this. We create limitations in our head. We put on the brakes, so to speak. We don't allow ourselves to see the full potential because most of us live with fear and doubt. I'm going to teach you guys right here, right now, how to remove fear and doubt from your life forever. Okay? So obviously, I'm extremely humbled by all the success we've had in the last year. And also, just to be clear, when I started this thing, I had a vision. I wanted to be the personal development king. I wanted to be the Apple of personal development, sleek and expensive, bigger than Tony Robbins and so forth. And not selfishly for me. I wanted to help as many people as I possibly can, billions. I want to show everybody that they could pivot, they could transform, they could change their mindset, they could find success, they could live the life they desire. So to be very clear about that. All right. And earlier in the conversation, I wanted you guys to have a visual of what that might look like. So hopefully that you do by now. If you guys are feeling my energy right now, if you could feel my passion and you're ready to learn exactly how to cultivate confidence, start making moves, drop a yes in the chat right now. I love it. I'm also going to drop my community number to my cell phone in the chat right now. You guys can text me and you could stay connected in the CLS community where you get training, mantras, inspiration on a daily and weekly basis. All right, guys. Number one, we're going to learn about modeling. What is modeling? Okay. I want you to think of people in life that you hold in very high regard. That could be a celebrity, could be a professional athlete, could be your mom or dad, could be a character from a book, anybody. I want you to think about that for a second. What did they do? What makes them tick? What are some of the attributes that they possess that I or you would like to have? If you're struggling with lack of inspiration, or you live with fear and doubt, or you're not as confident as you'd like to be, who are some of the people that you believe have a ton of confidence, who are on absolute fire, they can't be stopped? I'm going to give you guys an example. Okay. And this is some very deep stuff. If you buy in, you have to buy in. 10 years ago, I first got to Wall Street. I was a fish out of water. There were veterans making millions of dollars. Little old Craig Siegel right out of college. I didn't have a lot of confidence and I was intimidated, like I told you guys earlier. But I knew it was possible. I saw people that were doing so well. I knew it was only a matter of time before I got the experience. Only problem was I didn't have a ton of confidence. It was at this time I started understanding NLP, neuro linguistic programming, modeling. I said, who has a ton of confidence? Who's super assertive? Who, if I modeled their characteristics, I would become a much more assertive, confident human being? James Bond, one of my personal favorite fictional characters of all time. When I think of James Bond, I don't know about you guys, I think of someone who walks like this, like a swagger. Their mindset is bulletproof. They can't be stopped. They're on absolute fire. They're confident. They're assertive. They'll go up to the pretty girl at the bar. They'll buy her a drink. They know what to say and when. That guy's not going to get intimidated by rejection or become super sensitive and so forth. And so I started modeling James Bond when I'd walk into the floors on Wall Street of these big boardrooms. And literally, I would walk in different. When I picked up the phone and I was speaking to prospects, I just had a different aura about me. I was buying into this on a very deep level. Right? If someone said no on the phone, when you're in sales, you deal with no and rejection. It didn't bother me. It wasn't personal. Feedback is neutral. So I would just go into the next bullet, so anyway, and keep going on and so forth. I just had this level of confidence, even when it came to like relationships, like I mentioned earlier, like going to approach a pretty girl at the bar, whereas the old Craig would be intimidated and I would psych myself out. Now I was using the quality of thoughts that James Bond had. That guy wouldn't be scared, and so I'd walk right up to someone. And then when I left Wall Street and I started my own business, I used modeling for other situations. I thought of Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime 20 years back. That guy was the ultimate visionary. And so I started my other business, grew that to 8 figures as well. The reason why I modeled Arnold Schwarzenegger is as follows. You don't have to love the guy. And let me be very clear. We're not grabbing everything about these models. right? We're just tapping into a certain attribute that makes them successful. It's the same thing that Beyonce does when she dances on stage and she taps into her alter ego, Sasha Fierce. She taps into that character, and on stage, she's invincible. She's a whole different person. When she hops back off stage, she's Beyonce again. And she's very sweet, nice, and a little bit more laid back. It's the same concept. So why did I model Arnold Schwarzenegger when I was starting these other businesses? That guy is the ultimate visionary. He wanted to get up out of Austria. His mindset was, I'm going to become the most famous and accomplished bodybuilder in the world. That's going to take me to America. From there, I'm going to use that platform to enter Hollywood, take acting lessons. I'm going to become the highest paid actor on the planet. I'm going to start putting all that money that I get into real estate. Then from there, I'm going to go into politics to become the governor. The bottom line is this guy was always thinking 10 moves ahead. So I put myself in that frame, in that state when I started my second business, and boy, did it work. You have to have the visionary mindset if you want to accomplish stuff like that. Or in the James Bond case, if you need confidence and you need to get rid of some of the things that are holding you back, what would James Bond do in a specific moment? Even when I was training for these marathons, like I would model a professional athlete. Like again, love him or hate him, that's not the point here. I was modeling the UFC fighter Conor McGregor. When he was coming up and he was really young and hungry, and his training and his confidence level, his ability to read, and also just play chess with his opponents and so forth. I would tap into that, and I went from being unable to run a mile to not only running 4 marathons that next year, but I had a PR personal record of 3:39 last year in Philadelphia in the pouring rain with my brother Mark there witnessing, who gave me a big hug right after, which I'll never forget. So guys and girls, if you take nothing away from today, you now have at your disposal, at your fingertips, the ability to tap into and model people that you hold in high regard. Listen to me. When you wake up on a day-to-day basis, if you're in a great state, you know the moment. You wake up, you're on fire, you can't be stopped. There's nothing you can't do. It's going to be a great day. On the flip side, you wake up, you stub your toe out of bed, you go to get food delivered, they deliver the wrong offer, you get a ticket, it all spirals. The key to life is being in an elevated state all the time so that everything is great. You have solutions, you have a good energy about you, people gravitate towards you and so forth. So now you could tap into the model at any time. Just to make it easy for you guys, this is what I suggest. Grab a journal. You can't journal enough. Have a list of people on the left side of the page that you might model for different situations. Maybe it's going to work at LAX. Maybe it's when you're out at the bar, if you're putting yourself out there for a relationship. Maybe you want to start a passion project, whatever the case may be. Have a list of people you could tap into. On the right side of the page, write 3 attributes that they possess that when you model those and you mold them to yourself, your results are going to skyrocket as well. This is very deep stuff if you buy in. It's a technology that most of the world doesn't know about. If you girls and guys, right here, right now, as I'm speaking to you, if you believe that tapping into this deep technology of grabbing attributes from some of the greats and applying them to yourself can expedite your results in different areas, I want you to drop an absolutely or a yes in the chat. Don't be shy. Let's have some fun. Engage. Engage, guys. Yes. I love it. What's up, Rodolfo? How you doing? Okay. Also, I'm going to drop a link to a free gift that I'm going to be giving you guys at the end of this presentation that usually costs a lot of money, but I'm giving it to you guys for free right here today, how to tap into the modeling specifically on a very detailed basis. So I'm going to drop that in the chat in a minute or so. Yes, Rodolfo. All right, we're going to go over another tool. And with these 2 tools, guys, your life will be changed forever. Now, there's no such thing as a bad day ever again, because you have the ability to tap into the modeling and the anchoring, which I'm about to tell you about right now. What is anchoring? Okay, so similar to the modeling, we want to be able to elevate our state on command, right? We want to be able to cultivate confidence like that. Anchoring, follow me here. This is the ability to tap into a past experience. I mean, something that was so exhilarating to you that when you put yourself back in that moment, I don't care if it was the time you got married, you got a promotion, you started a business, you ran a marathon, whatever the case may be, you had a kid. Put yourself in that moment very specifically on a deep level. What did it look like? What did it feel like? What did it smell like? Who did you see? What was going on at that moment? Take a second, all of you. Think about a very specific moment. For me, again, I'll go back to, and I'll reference that last marathon I ran in Philadelphia in the pouring rain. Finished that marathon. I crossed the finish line. It was a personal record. I remember my brother came over, gave me a big hug. I remember seeing everyone because it was pouring. Hundreds of thousands of people were out there in their ponchos. I remember it smelled like dampness. I just had the best feeling. I'd worked so hard for that. When I put myself in that state, when I think about being at the finish line of that Philly marathon, I'm immediately elevated a little bit. No matter how bad of a day I was having, or if I was in a rut, whatever the case may be, or even if I was having a great day, my state is immediately elevated from that. I want you guys to anchor that moment that you just identified. Put yourself in that moment. Take 30 seconds. Anchor that moment and then bring yourself to the present and then step into whatever it is that you're about to do. Whatever activity you're going to do, you're now doing it at an elevated state. And again, it comes back to confidence, right? Not what can I do, what can't we do? Now you have modeling and anchoring in your back pocket for the rest of your life. You could tap into this stuff. I mean, guys, no matter what you're about to do, whether it's go to work or, like I said, go out, or you're writing a book, or you're starting a page, whatever it is, or you're playing a sport, whatever it is, you tap into the modeling and the anchoring, your performance is immediately skyrocketing. Most of the world doesn't know about this. This is going to be your unfair advantage. This is going to be your secret sauce. I'm going to teach you another trick, okay? This is called forward anchoring. Whatever big moonshot that it is that you do want to do, have the ability to visualize it and see yourself doing it on a very deep level, right? Feel it, see it. What is that going to feel like? What is that going to see? Like, what's going to be going on at that moment? And now when you step into pursuing that vision, all of a sudden it's going to feel very familiar for you. I'll give you guys another example. So when I started CLS, right? When I launched the podcast, I wanted to have 10,000 downloads the very first week. My team thought I was out of my mind, thought I was crazy. Craig, relax, takes patience. Put together a very specific campaign and put together a strategy. This is how we're going to do it. I saw the 7th day getting a notification from the platform we're using saying, congratulations, you just hit 10,000 downloads. I saw it. I felt how that would feel. Sure enough, it happened. And I'm even doing it right now as I'm currently training for the Chicago Marathon, October 10th, 2021. I see myself crossing the finish line just like this, one arm in the air in celebration of victory, because I know I'm going to have another PR because I'm putting in the work. But I see it, I feel it, I recognize it. So when it actually happens, it's going to feel very comfortable for me, kind of like a gladiator in their arena, feeling very comfortable. Now you guys have modeling and anchoring. If you're starting to feel good about all these new tools that you have, if you're starting to feel that energy, drop a yes in the chats. You guys are great. You guys are on fire today. I absolutely love your energy, and I appreciate you guys. All right. This is the big one. You ready? This is something that I call, and I teach all my clients and all my programs on my website, cultivatelastingsymphony.com. I'll drop that in the chat for you guys. Obviously, there's several programs. The way to work with me and my clients. Something that we teach in the masterminds, which is a group coaching program, is this. We call it Project Moonshot. Okay? So earlier on in the conversation, we talked about doing some things that felt big to you guys. I'm going to teach you how to do it. No matter what it is that you want to do. You want to write a book. You want to run like I've said, a marathon or a triathlon. You want to start a passion project, whatever the case may be, something really big. Picture this. You're in a room. There's 3 chairs in the room, okay? The first chair that you sit in is going to be called the dreamer perspective. When you sit in this chair, you have my full permission to dream as big as you possibly can. What does that moonshot look like? Writing a book, becoming a best-selling author, or running a marathon and everyone cheering for you, or starting a business like I did in the pandemic, growing into multi-7 figures and helping millions of people and so forth. So just to give you an example, when I did this, I said, when I start CLS, Cultivate Lasting Symphony, like I said earlier, I want this to be the Apple of personal development. I want to reach billions, bigger than Tony Robbins, not selfishly for Craig, but to help revamp as many mindsets as I possibly can. What does that look like? Let me be very specific. We're doing speaking tours. We're selling out stadiums, Wembley Stadium, just to name a few, of 100,000 plus. We have the most downloaded, hottest podcast on the planet with the biggest celebrities on there, showing everyone and sharing their stories of how they overcame rock bottom. We have coaching programs, masterminds, one of the top entrepreneurs on the planet, you name it. This is what I saw for myself. And listen, am I out of my mind? Maybe I am, but you have to be if you want to do something epic in this world. You have to be out of your mind. Okay, you have to think weird. So that was me sitting in that dreamer perspective chair. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Now, in that same room, we step into the critic chair, the critic perspective. Now, I give you full permission to look at everything the dreamer just said and shred yourself to smithereens. I mean, you lay it all out there. You name every potential obstacle, every challenge, every hurdle that could possibly come up. I'll give you the example that I gave myself. Craig, you're not comfortable doing public speaking. You had no social media presence. You've never been on a podcast before, let alone host one. Who's going to listen to you? There's a million coaches out there. So many people are on social media. It's saturated. Why you? What are your testimonials? When I was doing the marathons, you can't even run. You're a weightlifter. You have no cardio and so forth. I mean, you leave it all out there, guys and girls. You shred yourself. Every potential obstacle that might come your way. Have fun with this exercise. This is the same exercise that Walt Disney used when he launched Disney World. So pay attention, guys. Now, we have the dreamer perspective. We have the critic perspective. Now we step into the third chair, the realist perspective. This chair, this perspective is looking at the world like this. The dreamer wanted to do this, this, and that. The critic said, it ain't going to work because of this, this, and that. As the realist, here's how it can work. Craig, you want it to be the face of personal development, but the critic said that you're not comfortable public speaking. Okay, I'll use my modeling techniques. I'll get better. That's what the realist said. Craig, who's going to listen to me, to you? What are your testimonials? Then the realist said, well, you did start two businesses from the ground up with no experience, the 8-figure juggernauts. You did do that. All right, but that's just one field. Like, what else have you done? Then the realist comes and said, well, you did train yourself within 6 months how to run 4 marathons in 1 year and at a very optimal level. You have done all these things. So the realist chair, from that perspective, it enables you to basically take everything that the little kid in you want to do, the dreamer perspective, write a best-selling book, whatever the case may be. Apply that with what the critic said, all the potential challenges and obstacles. And then as the realist, it enables you to get out in front of every single hurdle that could come your way. Now you're playing chess, not checkers. You're thinking 20 moves ahead of everyone else. You're prepared to launch this thing or do whatever it is that you want to do, and you're ready for every single obstacle, every single challenge that's going to come your way. You're ready for it. So the realist perspective basically says, you want to do this, this is why it wouldn't work, here's how we can make it work. I use that same strategy to launch Cultivate Elastic Symphony as CLS, and obviously, as you can see, and I say this very humbly and respectfully, where we are just 365 days later. One of the hottest coaches on the planet in terms of mindset, one of the biggest record-setting podcasts on the planet, and obviously the hottest ticket in terms of public speaking and so forth. And again, I say that all humbly and respectfully, but it all started with a vision, and obviously having the confidence and the self-belief by using my modeling and anchoring and so forth. And so this project Moonshot is an absolute game changer. If you guys have a big moonshot, if you feel that you are worthy, let me reframe, you know that you're worthy to live the life you desire. You do want to make a dent in the universe. If there is something big that you want to do, if you believe this project Moonshot, these perspectives, just like it helped Disney and me, can help you get there, I want you to drop a yes in the chats. Don't be shy. This is great. Love all of you so much. All right, good. Guys and girls, listen to me. Every single one of you are worthy of doing epic stuff in this world. I see you, Patrick, Rodolfo. You're all worthy of doing something epic. I mean, there's a big misconception that change takes long. But how? Or how long is that going to take me? Or, you know, I'm scared. What are people going to think of me? That's just a story in your head. You have the ability to change that story, release it, and replace it with a new one. Okay? So when I first launched CLS, my story was imposter syndrome. Who's going to believe me? Or why should people listen to me, and so forth. Then I quickly disposed of that, and I changed the story to, I do have 10 years of studying the mind. And also, one of my gifts is I have the ability to communicate with people to make them want to take inspired action. If I don't share my gifts with the world, I'm actually being selfish. So I changed my story. I started putting one foot in front of the other, and the rest, as they say, is history. There is literally nothing holding you amazing humans back from doing something epic in this world. This isn't just some inspirational, motivational speech, guys. I've given you some tools that you can apply immediately. I mean, like right after this call ends, you could tap into your modeling, just like I do with James Bond, Arnold Schwarzenegger, just like Beyonce does with Sasha Fierce. You can elevate your state on command. This is some powerful stuff. I mean, let's just say you're negotiating a phone bill, or you're working with an insurance, you're on the phone, anything from an elevated state, the answers of how to do things come to you. This is why I talk all about dictating that inner experience. Guys, if you want to create amazing visible things in this world, it starts with the invisible, the meta, your confidence, your self-belief, your state, your courage. Most people are afraid to take action because they're afraid of failure, right? You can change what you associate pain and pleasure to. Once I identified that I wanted to go all in with the CLS, see, the thing with me is I never had these big grand ideas because, as you can imagine, New York City and Manhattan, it's go, go, go. As a business owner, if you're not going 200 miles an hour, you're going to get run over. So I never had, and no excuses. I take full responsibility and accountability for this. I didn't have time to reassess. So the pandemic provided me that opportunity to kind of dive deep and ask myself the tough questions, look myself in the mirror and say, am I really happy? And the truth of the matter is I wasn't. Once I thought of that, I associated with going back to doing what I was doing, which I am not passionate about. I associated that with death. I made this very real for myself. If I had this great idea and I don't take action, I understand it's never going to be a perfect time. It's never a perfect time to have a kid, to start a business, whatever the case may be. You take messy action and you gain experience and you figure it out. Okay. Now that I had this idea, if I go back to doing what I was doing, which I'm not passionate about, that's as good as death. And so even though starting CLS was scary, I associated that with pleasure because I was confident in my abilities, because I love this stuff. I'll figure it out, I'll make it work, and I'll stop at nothing. Okay, guys, you can change what you associate pain and pleasure to. That's another game changer. And I'll give you a funny example. About 5 years back, I was going out to a lot of social events in Manhattan with business owners and networking with entrepreneurs and so forth. And they would always order seafood. And fun fact, I thought I hated seafood for about 30 years of my life. I had this perception that I didn't like the smell, I didn't like the taste. But see, that's the thing. That's exactly what it was. It was a perception. And so I got a little frustrated that whenever I would go out, everyone would order sushi and this and that, and there'd be nothing for me to eat. And so I did this exercise, which I also teach on the programs on my website, cultivatelastingactivity.com, how to change what you associate pain and pleasure to. This is a game changer, it'll change your whole life. I realized that the smell of seafood isn't negative to me. It's my perception. I'm looking at it with a negative mindset. I think it's bad. I never actually tasted seafood and hated it. I just thought I hated it. None of the things that we're born with, that we develop, are actually natural. We're conditioned through society, maybe family sometimes, to feel a certain way towards certain things. Once I realized that, I changed my perception to seafood. Fun fact, to this very day, one of my favorite foods on the planet is 2 spicy tuna rolls with brown rice and a side of spicy mayo. I absolutely love seafood now. Point being is I changed what I perceived to be pain and pleasurable, and this was a game changer for me. I see you, Martha. I love it. Guys and girls, anything that you look at is a perception. You ever see the movie The Matrix? If you have, you'll know that Keanu Reeves unplugs himself from the Matrix and then he sees everything from a different perspective and his whole world changes. And then he could do all the things. We perceive the world to be a certain way based upon our map of the world. And once we change where we look at things, all of a sudden, we replace limitations with possibilities, with opportunities, and so forth. This is the key to life, okay? You change your perception. You unplug yourself from that matrix. You elevate your confidence on command. You use your modeling, your anchoring. You're a visionary. You have the project Moonshot. You change what you associate pain and pleasure to. Everything else changes. Guys and girls, you may not realize it, but the tools that you and I just went over that you now have for the rest of your life, should you choose to apply them, are worth $1 billion. I mean, it's absolutely priceless. There's now no situation that you're in, whether it's a dating situation or a business situation, or like I said, you're negotiating a phone bill, anything, talking to a family member. There's no situation that you can't take control of or improvise or tap into your modeling, anchoring, Project Moonshot, and so forth. You now have all the tools. And I know what you're saying to yourself, well, how come the rest of the world doesn't use this? Well, truth matter is most of the world doesn't have this knowledge. They don't teach us in school how to learn about the mind, right? They teach us a curriculum. Just the truth. We have to learn as adults, and hopefully now I'm being able to teach people much younger than adults. You have to learn how to learn, right? You have to understand the mindset is everything. The people that are super successful, the people that really make a dent in this universe and accomplish epic things, it's not like they have so much extra talent. They just have the ability to tap into their craft. Okay, there's no such thing as geniuses. It's what's a thought process that makes something like genius come to fruition. And that's another thing that I love to say is it's not so much the craft as it is the ability to tap into that craft. Martha, I see it. We need to reboot our brain. You couldn't be more accurate. Here's the best part. Everything that I taught you today, by reprogramming your mind or rebooting, Martha, as you just said, you can change things in an instant. I went from not liking seafood for 30 years to eating sushi the next day and loving it ever since. I changed my perception of effort. That first mile I ran, I thought I was struggling. I realized it was my perception of effort. Now I'm running marathons. Same thing when I started this new CLS business that took off, right? I had to change what I perceived to be pain and pleasurable. Now all of a sudden speaking in front of you amazing humans, putting myself out there in social media, I find very pleasurable. Go check out my Instagram page at Craig Siegel _CLS. I'll drop the handle for you guys in the comments. And you can find me at Craig Siegel on Facebook. You could see I look very comfortable in front of the camera, but it wasn't always like that. These are things that I modified and I adjusted. I rebooted my brain to give you kudos, Martha. I realized that to get to where we want to go with the CLS, to impact billions of lives, then I better get comfortable at speaking. And so, guys and girls, we spoke about in the beginning of this conversation, what's that big moonshot? What does that look like 3 to 6 months from now? What might that feel like if you really step into that vision? If you really pursue what lights your soul on fire, what might that look like? Now you have the tools. You have the modeling and anchoring to elevate your state, because from an elevated state, the ideas begin to come to you. From a lowered state, you have no creativity. You have to be in that higher state first and foremost. Now we have the Project Moonshot. We do the dreamer, the critic, and the realist perspective. Now we have an exact vision that Walt Disney used, that Craig Siegel used, how to start and launch any moonshot in the world. It doesn't have to be a business. It could be a fitness thing, a relationship thing, a book thing, whatever the case may be. You have the exact tools. From looking from things from a different perspective, such as the critic, it takes away all the potential unpredictability out of the equation, which is why most people either fail or don't start to begin with. Fear and unpredictability. Now that's out of the equation. Now you guys have all these tools. And I want you guys to remember, just like if you're trying to work out to hit a certain fitness goal, you can't just go to the gym once. You have to condition yourself, be consistent at it. The mind is no different. In fact, the mind is even more important, more significant. You have to condition yourself to adapt these. You have to practice using your modeling and your anchoring on a daily basis. Soon after a couple weeks, it'll feel second nature to you. I don't have to model James Bond anymore because I had developed his aura, his charisma, his confidence, his assertiveness. Now it's a part of me forever. Very grateful for all this stuff. But you have to work at it. You have to condition yourself to it, and it'll come to you. So again, I'm going to drop my phone number in the chat so you guys can join my community, which has free trainings, inspiration, more tangible tools, all the new podcast episodes and so forth, so you guys can keep up with us on a day-to-day basis. In addition, I'm going to drop a free giveaway that I'm giving you guys. This costs a lot of money, but for this specific event, I want you guys to have it. If I can do anything special for you guys today, I want you guys to be able to take this module and start to apply it immediately and start to fly. And so I'm going to be putting that free gift in the chat right now, modeling and anchoring. I want you guys to grab that, use it, and practice it, okay? And then from here on out, you're gonna have this at your disposal whenever you see fit. But just remember, I can bring you to the well, so to speak, but I can't make you drink it. You guys have the modules now at your disposal. What are you waiting for? Go download the module right now and start practicing. I'll open up for a quick Q&A right now as we wrap up. Any of you guys have any specific questions that you want to ask me, pick my brain, anything at all that I could possibly help with you guys here before I leave you today, anything. Yeah, so again, like I said, you can find me at Instagram at Craig Siegel _CLS. Anyway, you listen to podcasts, the CLS Experience, and our website, cultivatelastingsymphony.com. How do you guys feel about the modeling, the anchoring, and the Project Moonshot? Drop a yes in the chat if you're excited to start applying it immediately and begin to fly. You guys are a very engaged audience today. I love that. To be honest with you guys, your aura and your energy is super contagious. Rodolfo, you're already on absolute fire. You can't be stopped. I can already tell. I love it. All right, guys. So you have the free gift there, free module. You have my community, my cell phone number, my Instagram, and so forth. Look, all I wanted to do today is stop by. Thank you guys so much for your time. Hopefully you could start to apply the modeling, anchoring, the Project Moonshot, changing what you associate pain and pleasure to, and begin to take control of your life. And I want to leave you guys with this. You are worthy of living the life you desire. Yes, you, Rodolfo, Martha, everyone on this thing. You are worthy of living the life you desire, from accomplishing anything that you want to accomplish. Look yourself in the mirror, 3 words. Why not you? Because if it's not you, it's going to be someone else. But here's the thing. Now you have the tools, right? Now you know how to cultivate that confidence, that self-belief, which will take you anywhere you need to go in this world. I love you guys so much. It's been an honor and a pleasure to chat with you here today. Looking forward to connecting with some of you in the future. Have an unbelievable day, and we'll absolutely chat soon. Bye, guys.